Okay, this is just a quick video to help people out when their helicopter is spinning and they can't figure out how to stop it. Usually what you have to adjust would be okay, let's start from the beginning. Generally when you get a helicopter, it comes ready to fly out of the box. The only thing you should adjust, if your helicopter either drifts to the left or if it drifts to the right, when it's starting to come off the ground, usually at around 50% throttle, um, which the only thing you ought to mess with is the trim, which is right under, this is the tail trim, which is right under the throttle. And it's either left or right, and you adjust this button here to correct the movement of your tail. Now let's say you've crashed your helicopter, you've had to rebuild it, and then once you get it back together, you find that it spins, and you're thinking, okay, what did I do wrong? Because all I did was just rebuild the helicopter. Well, what you're going to have to do in that case, it just depends on how bad it's spinning. If it has just a slight spin, then all you got to do is adjust your trim button. But now, if it has a pretty good spin where it's going to spin at a pretty good clip, then what you need to do, and I've got both transmitters here. I believe this is the Dynam. Let me get it up here so you can see it a little better. Let's see. I believe it's the Rayson. 2.4 gigahertz anyway. It's the Dynam 6-channel. This is the remote that comes with the Dynam. I've been hearing how these transmitters are junk. And I've had this one for 2 years, and I haven't had a bit of problems flying a helicopter with it. So, that's just one thing I'd like to clear up. The settings on the dip switches ought to be up, up, from left to right. It ought to be up, up, down, down, up, 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 up. So in other words, every one of them ought to be up, except for the CCPM and your rudder. Those ought to be in the down position. There we go. We can see it better now. And I'll give you a shot of how that's supposed to look. Okay, now let's say you've crashed, you've rebuilt it, you got a pretty good spin to it. And the only way I could do it is to kind of show you. Down here on the dip switches, you'll have the expositional, you'll have PLT pitch, and then you'll have the rudder mix. Now most transmitters will have these if it's not a digital, like this one. You have to turn it on in order to see that stuff. But just to give you a basic idea, whether it's digital or one like this, is they all need to be in the off position originally. Let's see, get a better shot. You don't want to do two at a time, only one at a time. And in this case, the rudder mix gyro, the switch all the way to the right. You flip that. First thing you do, power your helicopter up, get everything bind your helicopter and your transmitter to your receiver, and once you do that, you got it all bound. You don't want to crank it up yet, but you set your V2 and your V1 knobs to 0. Okay, now they're at 0. Once that's done, give your helicopter some throttle, get it up to around 50% just prior to it starts to spin in the direction that it spins. Now what I do is I hold my helicopter in my right hand and I adjust that so that way, if you don't stand a chance of crashing your helicopter again, it makes it easy to do it. I would demonstrate it, but just hold it by the skids, hold it well above your head and away, and power your helicopter up, get it up to past 50%, and then once these are set at 0, you turn your rudder mix gyro switch on. Then your left V2 is for gain. That's gyro gain. To the left is negative, and to the right is positive gain. Alright, so if you don't want it to be real sensitive, keep it to the negative a little bit, usually around 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. You'll know how it is when you got it in your hand, the sensitivity to it. And all you got to do is, once it's in your hand, is go left or right with the tail, and it'll tell you just how sensitive it is. It'll in response. That's how you adjust that. Now the other button is the one you're going to use. That that's going to slow your spin down right there, your V1 button. I've got mine set on my dynam over to the positive side, and it doesn't spin. It has a slight. It moves slightly, but then once you get it close with this one, once you get that all set and the helicopter feels real good in your hand, like it don't got a lot of tail spin to it, then go ahead and turn your dip switch, your gyro rudder, your rudder mix gyro. I get it out of my mouth right. Go ahead and put that off. Now you can move these and it ain't gonna matter. This button's off. Once this button is off, these two buttons aren't going to do anything for you. Alright, so now you've got a slight movement. The helicopter's just barely moving. You can correct that with your trim. If it's moving to the left, I forgot now, it's either left to the right, but you'll know when it's in your hand. And then once it feels real steady in your hand, go ahead and set it on the ground, try it. And if you need to go either one click to the left or one click to the right with your trim button, that's how you do it. And then it should be pretty stable for you. You should be able to fly it. That's it, guys. Well, let me show you real quick. Let me turn this one on. This is the Exceed 2.4 gigahertz. This is my transmitter that I use for my G2 Raptor. Now you can see down there where it says rudder mix gyro. Let's see. And the light just went off. There you go. Okay, there's the rudder mix gyro. Come on, light. That is what you would do to adjust your transmitter. And again, it's the same as the other one. Your V2, your V1. Your V1 would be the gyro gain, and your V2 button would be the mix. That would actually, that button right there, once this button is on, then you hit enter, you adjust it, turn it off, and then fine tune it with your trim button. That should take your spin away, guys. If you have any more problems, just post it. You know, if you can't get it to stop spinning, then there may be something else wrong with it. Number one, you may have a bad gear back here, or the front gear, or you might have a bad belt. You know, there's other reasons that would make it do it. You could have a bad gyro, which is highly doubtful. Generally, the gyro is going to, the way to check those is to power your helicopter up. Once it's powered up, move it left or right, and the blades will either turn in the opposite directions. That's why you know your gyro's working right. So, that's it, guys.